I know many things about you. You're underpaid, you're overworked, and you have, this is very upsetting, you have the heart of this city in your hands. You're my steward. I turned it over to you. I voted, and people died so that I could do that. They died so that I could stand here and look at you, and each one of you are good people. However, if I may, Einstein said, the world is not a dangerous place because of those who do evil, but because of those who stand by and do nothing. And if you felt, my dear commission, and I say this with affection, that I would be criticized for, and respect, which I am proud of, both of those. Did you go to the Attorney General? Did you go to the governor and say, what about my people? They voted. What about my people? I'm your people. All the people who could not come here are your people. You should have asked that question. I expect you to. I expect virtue from you, and the highest virtue, I expect you to be better than me, better than the best of people in this city. Undo it, fix it, the vote counted. It's not about the size of the buildings. It's about the fact that we do in this country what they cannot do in other countries. You broke my heart. You broke the heart of the city. Please undo it.
Again, I just want to make sure that everything's in public record and making sure that we are recording this. My name is Joanne Golden. I own my home at 502 North Palmway, which is within 4 blocks of the area covered by the Charter Amendment Ordinance 2012-30, approved by the majority of Lake Worth voters on March 12, 2013. Lake Worth legally amended the charter, now limits heights to 45 feet between 2nd Avenue North and 1st Avenue South, between F Street and Dixie Highway and the Intercoastal. The LDRs proposed for approval tonight exceed those heights and are in violation of our current charter. The evacuation route and the area proposed for height increases are one and the same and pose a risk to public safety. The proposed height would be out of scale with the roadway and not compatible with the adjacent residential neighborhoods. One-way north and south residential streets, i.e. Palmway, where I live, Lakeside, and O Street would be adversely affected. Added city services involved with increased intensity would greater burden the city's budget. And changes to these heights with a mere majority vote will change the look of Lake Worth without regard to its voters, its taxpayers, and its charter.
Peter Tick, North O Street, and I wonder, were you people elected by the state legislature? Because all I keep hearing is I have to protect the state legislature. We don't give a darn about the people of Lake Worth who voted for us and put us in these nice comfortable chairs. You don't care about us. You only care about the state legislature, and you've got to obey their laws. How about my laws? My laws is when I voted for you and when I voted for the referendum. That was my laws. And I asked you to enforce my laws, but you don't give a darn about me. All you care about is the state legislature.
No, I'm just saying you're yelling at me, so if you could just keep your tone down just a little bit. You can say whatever you like.
I don't need to howl myself, but I am very upset that I found out that all of my rights and privileges as a citizen of the state of Florida have been taken away from me by the state legislature, and I can't even vote on what I want you to do because you don't listen to me. I want you if you don't, I'm gonna kick your butt out of those comfortable chairs up there and put people in there who are going to represent me. Thank you very much.
126 North E. 126 North E is right in the area affected by this commission's decision to accept Lake Worth City Attorney's interpretation of the state of Florida's legislative statute 163.3767 and ignore the will of the people and the results of the city election charter amendment ordinance 2012-30, in which the majority of Lake Worth voters on March 12, 2013 agreed to buildings no higher than 35 feet from A Street to Federal Highway between 2nd Avenue North and 1st Avenue South. 45-foot buildings will bring a much higher density of people to that area that is currently mostly 1- and 2-story buildings. Most residents in this area park on the street, and the added traffic could cause much friction and many problems. For me, higher buildings will also change the quality of life for the worse. Every morning I feed my dogs breakfast and sit on the porch and watch the sun come up behind the trees while they eat. A 4th-story building behind my garden will mean I will have to go out onto the porch between 10 and 11 to watch the sun rise from behind a building. I understand we need more tax money in the city to function. I'm not totally anti-development, but there are plenty of empty properties which, if developed to voter-accepted heights and encouraged by permits and codes that are more developer-friendly, as we seem to be doing, will bring the needed money in.
Followed by Annabeth Carson.
Farrell, 230 West South Conway. I wanted to talk about parking and traffic, but I'm starting with, I already voted with the majority on March 12th to limit the height allowance, Charter Amendment 2012-30, and I'm extremely disappointed that it seems as if my vote just doesn't seem to matter. I've lived in Lake Worth for most of 9 years in the Bryant Park neighborhood. It's less than 4 blocks from Lake Avenue. It's very old. I'm not used to talking, you know. And I chose Bryant Park because it was charming and it looked like a low-rise, lovely seaside town. The proposed new heights of 65 feet for hotel construction in my neighborhood would most certainly bring new traffic tie-ups, especially crossing Lake and Lucerne Avenues, currently evidenced by the closing of the Lantana Bridge. First Avenue South is already a traffic nightmare with parking on both sides of the street. It's difficult for emerging vehicles, garbage trucks to pass through. Most residents don't have parking garages and park on the streets. Parking has often been a nightmare during festivals in Bryant Park, like the Festival or Gay Pride. I've taken it in my stride when a vehicle would be parked in front of my home all afternoon and evening. When I come home and I have to park a block away. The festivals are good for the city and the economy, but luckily they don't occur all the time. Whereas construction of new buildings like a hotel with a high population, density, more vehicles, each would have need for a parking space, would make the thought of my having to fight for a parking space in front of my house every day.
It's actually Annabeth Carson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I know we're both small.
I took over the corridor, sorry.
1505 North Palmway, changes to the LDRs in excess of the 45-foot height in the downtown corridor and the surrounding neighborhoods are in violation to the recent height limit charter amendment. I believe there is no Florida statute that overrides the results of a municipal charter amendment. Ordinance 2012-30 was approved by Lake Worth voters at the March 12, 2013 election, and this commission has no authority to annul the results of this election. I live 15 blocks from the downtown corridor, and the height limits that were approved on March 12th are important to me because the low-rise, small-town feeling, the old Florida character of the city of Lake Worth is important to my quality of life. These are the reasons I live here. Previously, I lived in cities with tall buildings. I moved here because that's not what I want. I moved here because Lake Worth is low-rise, and because a low-rise community offers me the quality of life that's important to me. I'm concerned about the impact of increased heights in the downtown and adjacent neighborhoods on traffic congestion, for my safety when I ride my bicycle in busier traffic, and on the quality and quantity of city services and my overall sense of safety. I think it's interesting how the city attorney has very eloquently avoided answering Commissioner McVoy's direct question about how statute 163-3167 annuls the March 12th Charter Amendment. I did not hear any direct answer whatsoever. I would also like to clarify a comment that was made at an earlier time in this meeting. The Charter Amendment was not sent to the state. They do not have a record of the Charter Amendment. All they have is the editorial note that says that the Charter Amendment was annulled.
Linda Mahoney, 325 North O Street, which is 1.5 blocks from the downtown corridor, as such was defined in ordinance 2012-30, which was passed by the voters on March 12, 2013, as an amendment to the city charter, regardless of what action has taken place. I bought my home in 1996 in close proximity to the downtown corridor, in order to enjoy the convenience of walking to the bank, post office, restaurants, stores, park, golf, beach, without the problems generally associated with the downtown environment. Too much density and intensity, traffic congestion, and the resulting air pollution, noise, light pollution. I purchased my home based on the height of the majority of the buildings in my neighborhood and the downtown, not based on the exceptions. Any height approved in the LDRs this evening in this area above the height that was passed in the Charter Amendment will result in additional residential units and or commercial space, traffic congestion at intersections that will result in increased vehicular traffic through my neighborhood, down my street. We have a lot of speeding already. There'll be more cars that won't want to wait at the lights and will come down my street. There'll be noise from more commercial establishments, delivery trucks, trash trucks picking up dumpsters, and light from upper story windows above the natural tree line that I'll be able to see from my house. My property will be negatively impacted and my quality of life will be degraded. If the people's vote is not upheld, I would like the LDRs to still reflect the spirit of what the people voted for and the heights that they voted on. And you can still do that regardless of whether the Charter Amendment is nullified. And I would encourage you and ask that you do that.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Meyer. I live at and own 609 2nd Avenue South. I also own 610 2nd Avenue South, which is a rental property. My properties are 2 blocks from the downtown corridor. In my neighborhood, the downtown Jewel, I observed that most of the houses have neither garages nor driveways, including my rental. In the evening hours, on-street parking is filled to capacity. During public events like parades and the street painting festival, the parking is impossible, the streets are unnavigable, and the number of traffic accidents increases exponentially. As an investor in this neighborhood, I welcome progress. However, I think the commission places the cart before the horse when it places the importance of the size of buildings over developing the infrastructure to support such growth. I would ask the commission to focus their energy and the city's money to addressing obvious issues of decay, then bring us your creative development ideas. These were my thoughts when I chose to vote yes in the March vote regarding this issue. Since the yes vote prevailed in March, I would ask the commission to respect the outcome of that vote. Thank you.
Hi, Katie McGivern. I live at 2121 Collier Avenue. I have to agree with Suzanne. I've been coming to these meetings since 2005 and never in my entire life have I seen a meeting conducted in such a manner or the citizens put through such a process and lectured. We are your boss. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking a little loud. We are your boss. How dare you stop after every comment and correct us? It's intimidating enough for people to come up here and talk to you. On March 12, 2013, a majority of Lake Worth voters approved the Charter Amendment Ordinance 2012-30. Approval of this proposed LDRs will be in direct violation of the Lake Worth Charter and will be against the law. And I have spoken to lawyers that have differing opinions on what the law is from our city attorney. If these LDRs are passed, I will be affected anytime that I try to go near or drive through the downtown area. My tax rate will also be affected. The fact that this commission has refused to recognize a majority of voters in the city makes all citizens residing within Lake Worth affected parties. Again, approval of the proposed LDRs will be in direct violation of the Lake Worth Charter and will be against the law. When an election happens, certain things have to be done by city staff. They were not done in this case. Again, I know lawyers all over the state of Florida. I know land use attorneys all over the state of Florida. Their opinions on this very issue differs. And again, you have a lot of nerve running a meeting in this manner where every person is corrected.
Quiet, thank you.
A lot of nerve.
Thank you.
I'm in the same lifeboat as Wes. My name is Lori Decker. I live at 519 North D Street, which is within 4 blocks of the area covered by the Charter Amendment Ordinance 2012-30, approved by a majority of Lake Worth voters on March 12, 2013. The heights proposed in the LDRs will increase density in my neighborhood and exacerbate traffic problems that we are already experiencing, that I will come here and complain about. Lake Worth PD measured 1,800 vehicles traveling on D Street in a 24-hour period several years ago. This is a residential street that cannot support the additional traffic that would be created by allowing a 4-story residential complex that is allowed under the proposed LDRs. This type of development would be visible from my property and would adversely affect me because traffic would funnel north on D Street, a single-lane, one-way street, to access the interstate right past my property. Something else I would like to point out, I hear over and over again about how the new LDRs will protect the downtown. They'll protect us from the heights that we're afraid of. Everything is all built in. And what is built into the LDRs that you're going to finally approve tonight is a section named Residential Plan Developments Special Requirements. RPDs may be created in any residential district. Planned developments may be located in any mixed-use district, with the exception of the neighborhood commercial district. And in case anybody's wondering, the neighborhood commercial district are these 2 very tiny, itsy-bitsy little squares on the map, one right here and one right here. So that's the only place that a planned development is not allowed to take place. It can take place anywhere else in the city. Really?
Thank you.
Well, a planned development includes relaxing or waiving of height, setback, lot dimensions, and lot area requirements anywhere as an incentive. So you've built into the LDRs exactly what you're telling us they are protecting us from.
And then we're going to take a break because there's a huge stack of cards here. I need about a minute.
Lynn Anderson, 2204 Lake Osborne Drive. I moved here in the 1950s and came back here as an adult when I was 35. I live minutes from the downtown. Other than the section east of Federal with a handful of taller buildings, our downtown has always consisted of 1 to 2-story buildings until the controversial Lucerne condo was built, a building that most people objected to. It was too high compared to the adjacent buildings. We didn't get to vote on that decision, but we did legally amend our charter on March 12, 2013 on heights. We who live in Lake Worth are all affected by this commission's decision to not honor the vote of the people. Charter Amendment Ordinance 2012-30 in an election held in Lake Worth on March 12th, winning by 55.86% of the vote. Many of us bought here because we have been a low-rise city and a low-rise downtown for 100 years. We did not move to Fort Lauderdale or some city with tall buildings. We invested in a small town with a small town feel. All those who voted to have 4 stories in our downtown are affected because this commission did not honor what the people voted on that election. When democracy is stomped on by politicians, it affects all of us. Politicians are elected to do what the people has told them to do by the vote. It's contemptuous and it's disrespectful. Mr. Torcivia, I think you're a wonderful guy. I disagree with you on this. And the mayor, really, most of what you said tonight was really rude. Everyone in this small 6-mile square city are affected by this because you are ignoring the vote. So I oppose ordinance 2013-34, adopting higher heights in the land development regulations than what the people voted on in the charter change.
David Sims?
My name is David Sims. I live at 715 North L Street. I live 7 blocks north of the downtown corridor area that was affected by ordinance 2012-30, which was voted in by the majority of our voters on March 12, 2013. I like living in Lake Worth and I like going downtown because it's a place that has the small town feel, the old Florida feel, that's kind of more and more rare in Florida these days. It's a lot of towns that weren't always high-rise are now high-rise. Towns like West Palm Beach have lots of really, really high buildings. It's nice to have a place to go where I can still have that, small town, old town feel. I'm concerned that if you do not abide by the ordinance on building heights that we voted into on March 12, 2013, and you pass LVRs that go above those limits, that the character of the town wouldn't be quite the same if we had higher buildings, and I would be impacted because it wouldn't be a place I could go anymore to experience a small town feel.
We're going to take a brief break and we'll be back in a few minutes.
My name is David Sims. I live at 715 North L Street. I live 7 blocks north of the downtown corridor area that was affected by ordinance 2012-30, which was voted in by the majority of our voters on March 12, 2013. I like living in Lake Worth and I like going downtown because it's a place that has the small town feel, the old Florida feel, that's kind of more and more rare in Florida these days. It's a lot of towns that weren't always high-rise are now high-rise. Towns like West Palm Beach have lots of really, really high buildings. It's nice to have a place to go where I can still have that, small town, old town feel. I'm concerned that if you do not abide by the ordinance on building heights that we voted into on March 12, 2013, and you pass LVRs that go above those limits, that the character of the town wouldn't be quite the same if we had higher buildings, and I would be impacted because it wouldn't be a place I could go anymore to experience a small town feel.
I'm at 1008 North Lakeside. This is 8 blocks north of the Central Corridor that was the subject of the election on March 12th of this year, 2013, when the citizens decided to pass ordinance 2012-30. Whether or not you accept that this election was legal or not, you now know the wishes of the people, and that is that we want a low-rise city. Whatever Tallahassee did or did not pass, they did not pass a law requiring high-rises in any particular city. You yourselves can design and improve better LDRs that reflect the will of the people, since you now know what the people do want. That would not be going against any ordinance or statute or whatever of Tallahassee's. And while I don't agree with the city attorney's opinion, I'm not going to get into that here. I don't feel that I'm a resident of just one neighborhood of this, but of the entire city. The Central Corridor area, I frequent it mostly on foot or bike several times a week. I use the banks there with their ample parking. I pass through on my way to downtown, to Snook Islands, Bryant Park, and the beach. We're a city of mostly one-story houses. This is the charm of our city. Small houses on rather big-sized lots, much different than the rest of the county. Increased height density will destroy the charm of our beachfront city. And so I ask that you not approve these LDRs as they are, and please represent the citizens that are
Like Annie Bussinger.
Hi, I'm more composed. I'm more composed. I do believe that in the same way the residents are asking the commission for something, that the residents also need to respect the commission. And I know I'll be laughed at, I don't care, but I appreciate the mayor trying to explain in between the comments, trying to bring clarity to the situation. Mayor, you very respectfully asked us if we choose to have you do anything illegal, to tell you. I do not choose for you to do anything illegal. I'm not so sure that Tallahassee knew that we even had an election in March. Close enough to bring all of this into your arms. And I'm asking, not for you to do anything illegal, but to write to the governor and ask the question, what am I supposed to do about my people's vote? It would eliminate the onus being on you, and I can tell by your faces, you're all touched in some way by what you've heard here. You are between a rock and a hard place, underpaid, too much time spent here, too much garbage cleaned up from all these people here, and now this one laid in your lap as well. But you can ask the governor, what do I do with my people? This is my city, my municipality. And then you have another choice after that. As Mrs. Mahoney said, there is a spirit of the people that have come here. You can make a decision there also. But the most important thing is to vote.
Hi, my name is Annie Bussinger. I live at 1809 North Lakeside Drive. The Florida Constitution begins this way. All political power is inherent in the people. In the people means voters, and our expensive special election results should mean something. I'm a homeowner in Lake Worth for over 17 years, and I don't want to flinch when someone asks me where I live. If this commission goes through with their plans on throwing out our March election, then I will flinch. As someone who commutes by bicycle, more traffic will force me off my bike. I find it very unsafe to ride my bike in downtown West Palm. I was just there last week. Let's not be like West Palm.